Okay, now as you can see, we mounted our upper cabinets up on the wall. We put our ledger boards underneath the bottom so that the cabinets sit on top of it, and we screwed them to the wall. Now, as far as the base unit in the corner right here, you can see we have a couple of plumbing issues we have to deal with. That was the actual clean out and the drain pipe. We have the outdoor water coming through the wall, as well as the other two we need to put through the base of the cabinet. We are going to change this dishwasher end panel here as well, and there's our tools that we're going to accomplish that with. As you can tell, the cabinet itself, we had to do a couple of alterations on it, which I will show you in just a minute. Down on the one corner where the pipe actually protrudes through the wall, we need to make a cutout in the base cabinet itself to accommodate the clean out, which is going to be down below. So we just cut a small little hole in the back of the cabinet itself for the clean out, and then we down on the very bottom of the cabinet, where the pipe goes down into the concrete, we needed to trim off down the bottom there because it's going to interfere very slightly with the bottom there as well. So that'll give us enough clearance to get that corner unit in, and it won't touch into the pipes itself. And here we have all our marks on the wall where everything is going to line up. That's our level line across where each cabinet is going to be located. These are the pipes that are going to be in the sink base unit. We're going to cut holes through the base unit to accommodate it, and this is how the end panel is attached. We are going to take the panel off and replace it, and the new panel, you see, it's going to line up with that line again across the top of the wall. And then you can see down on the bottom of the base cabinet here where those water lines come in, we needed to cut a small little opening to sit over the top of those lines so they don't interfere with it. Okay, now that we have our base unit in place, we shimmed it to make sure that everything was level and plumb, top, bottom, front to rear, side to side, as well as up and down, so that everything is perfectly leveled out. We used shims underneath the bottom of the cabinet to lift it up as needed to make everything so that it's level and plumb. Now we also, what we did is we came in the back over here and we put the screws in the back into a beam to secure the cabinet. Again, we put whatever shims we needed in the back to make sure that we didn't distort the cabinet when we screwed the screws into the beam to secure the cabinet in place. All right, most important, make sure everything is level and plumb all around, front, back, sides, all of everything. Okay, next we take our next cabinet and we bring it over, and again we do the same exact thing. We make sure that it's perfectly level across the top. It has to be as near perfect as possible so we don't have any issues with the granite counter when we install that later on. So again, we make sure it's level and plumb, top, back, and sides to the to the other unit. And then after that, we come around here with screws and we join the two cabinets together. On the hinge side over here, we drilled in here. We pre-drilled the holes, and then we put in the screws and we screwed them tight together so that the face frame lines up exactly on the top and the front exactly. Okay, so now that we have our base unit in here, the sink base unit, you can see we cut out for all of the plumbing, and we put it over the top here so that we can, later on, we can actually connect up the valves and everything for the sink. We cut out our drain opening in the back, and this is for our external faucet outside, the water for the gardening. So we have the unit in. We have it clamped together against the drawer unit. We made sure it's level right across the top right here. We made sure it's perfectly straight here, and we clamped it together. We put our shims down underneath the bottom to shim everything up so that it's perfectly level. We shimmed it here, and we actually shimmed it down on the bottom on the other sides over here to make everything level. We put our level over the top of it, and we just make sure that it's perfectly level here. and this way here as well, which is level. And of course, like this, make sure it's perfectly level. So everything is perfectly leveled and squared the way it's supposed to be. Now we're going to come in over here and we're going to install the screws that go into the face of the cabinet to hold it to the face of the cabinet over here. I'm going to put 3 screws in, but that's personal preference. I like putting 3 in there because it keeps it nice and tight, the joints. Alright, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to drill down at the bottom here. I'm going to pre-drill this cabinet here with the drill so that this screw goes right into here, and then this part here will cut as threads going into the face of this cabinet here. Alright, so let me do that, and we'll just drill that through. Now you only want to drill through partially, as you can see. I only drilled it through partially. Now what we're going to do is we're going to countersink this hole because the head of the screw will be sticking up, and you can see how it's tapered right here. So we're going to countersink the hole. Now if you don't have a countersink, you can just use a drill bit to just put a little bit of a groove in here to countersink the head, or if you have something like this, you could countersink it as well. So let's do that real quick. Just a little bit like that for the screw for this part of the screw head to actually be recessed down into it. So let's go just a tiny bit more. Just like that. The face is nice and straight. The bottom is nice and even down here as well. And now we're going to drive that screw in there. So let me get my screwdriver. And you can see how flat that is against here so that you don't have anything sticking out. Alright, now we're going to put another one here, and then we're going to put another one up in the top up here as well. So let's just do that. Remember, you only want to drill partially through. Now a drill works better if you drill in a little bit, then you pull it out so that you can drop all of the filings off. Okay. Now we're going to countersink that hole just a little bit. Put a screw in. Make sure again that it's perfectly flush here, and then we can screw it all the way in. Okay, and we're going to do one more up top right here. Okay, so now our faces are all screwed together. We have everything shimmed on the bottom where it's supposed to be. Here. We checked our level here. And the last thing we're going to do is we're going to come in the back right up over here where I marked the beam. And we're going to install a screw right inside there. So let me grab a screw and we'll come right back. Okay, I just want to explain what shims are. Shims are actually tapered pieces of wood like that. It starts out very thin on the bottom, and as you go up it's tapered to get much thicker. And the reason it's like that is because if you have a very small gap, you have this in there, and then you just slide the shim down until it actually takes up the space behind the wood, and then you know you're shimmed off properly. All right, but there's lots of different kinds. This is just one of the kinds that I picked up in the big box store. All right, and the shim goes in here just like this. The reason you put a shim in there is because the wall itself may not be perfectly straight. And if the wall is not perfectly straight and you put a screw in here, you're going to bow the back of the cabinet itself. So that's why we put shims in there, to keep that from happening. All right, so now we're ready to put our screw in here. We're going to just drill through the wood. And the reason we drill the wood like that is because sometimes when you put a screw in, it splits the wood. That's why we pre-drill it. And that's it. So now this cabinet is in. We're going to check it one more time in the back over here with our level to make sure it's level, which it is. We're going to check it this way to make sure it's actually level this way, which it is. And of course up in the front right here as well. All right, so this cabinet is now finished. We're just going to take a utility knife such as this, and we're going to come in here, we're going to cut these shims off. Very easy. You just take the utility knife and you just strike it across here a couple times. And then you break it off like that. Same thing in the back. All right, so we'll break those off too, and then we're ready to do our dishwasher in here. So, all right, we'll come back and we're ready to put the dishwasher in, and we'll continue. Okay, so we got the dishwasher in. We actually have, you know, obviously when you put a dishwasher in, you have to make sure that it's underneath the counter where the granite is going to go. We did put a level on the front of this to make sure that it is level and plumb. We did connect up the electrical, and we ran the discharge line over through here where it's going to come into the sink once the granite counter is put back in with the sink attached. Down in the bottom down there, you can see down here, I put a hole through over here because I'm going to run the supply line into the dishwasher. All right, but the dishwasher is all connected. Now you know you have to have 24 inches from point to point. We did install this side piece right here as well, and as you can see, I put a filler in the back over here. The filler is because the granite's going to sit on top of that filler, and I put an L bracket in here to hold the corner nice and tight. We are going to put a piece across the top here to here over the top of the dishwasher to make sure that it remains 24 when the granite is put back in here. So that we are going to do as well. The base unit you can see is in. I do have the line which you see right over here. That line I'm going to replace it, but again that goes to the outside, so that'll be a you know, in the video later on once the sink is put back in, and then we can reconnect all the plumbing here. All right, everything as you can see is up against the back right here. It's up to the line, so we have everything is nice and level throughout. We have to put a filler strip on here so that we have the cabinets or even with the top itself. The top cabinets are in as far as I can go because that cabinet right there came damaged, so I'm waiting for a replacement. So these cabinets are in, and this one here we're waiting for a replacement door because the door itself was warped. And this one, we're still waiting on this one over here. Did not come in yet. That one didn't come in yet. All right, other than that, the tops are in, and that's it. All right, so once we get the other cabinet
and wrap it up. And like I said, down on the bottom down here, I'm waiting for my tiles to come in because I'm going to actually put tile down on the bottom, down on the kick plate down there, or the toe kick they call it. I'm going to put that in there as well. And I'll have to grout the tiles on the other side there as well. All right, this one I'm probably going to chisel this tile out, but we'll see how that goes. I may just try putting one in there. If it doesn't work, then I might chisel that tile out, but we'll see how it goes. All right, but that's the update on the project. Until we get the replacement, it's probably going to take, I think, 3 weeks before I get the replacements. But the granite, I'm going to have the guy come in and template it, and we'll get this wrapped up, and I'll show you that when it gets to it. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.